Having left Ireland in 1983 and visiting the country frequently over the ensuing 40 years, I've charted the dramatic changes in the country of my birth. Appropriating Yeats, let's say simply, Ireland is all changed, changed utterly. The country has transformed from an impoverished theocratic backwater to one of the wealthier liberal democracies in the West. If you want to understand how such an extraordinary transformation took place, I've been recommending Fintan O'Toole's We Don't Know Ourselves to friends, family, and colleagues. O'Toole, a mainstay columnist of the Irish Times, Ireland's paper of record, has written what is described as a personal history of this massive shift in circumstances. Why personal? Well, the seismic changes in Ireland's economy and culture just happened to mirror O'Toole's life. In 1958, the year of his birth, Ireland turned away from over 30 years of political isolation with the deployment of a small UN peacekeeping force in Congo. A year later, an aging Eamon de Valera retired from active Irish politics, opting to assume the largely ceremonial office of the presidency. De Valera had been the chief architect of a policy to create a self-sufficient and uber-Catholic Ireland with limited international engagement. In this effort, he was supported by an authoritarian and repressive Catholic Church, whose presence extended into many domains normally managed by the modern state. Sean Lemass assumed power following De Valera and began the steady march to a more globally engaged Ireland with an attempt to join the common market, the predecessor to the current European Union. Despite the failure of that initial attempt, wealthier members wanted little to do with an impoverished nation in dire need of development assistance. Ireland eventually succeeded in joining in 1973, unleashing access to funds that were central to the development of the current state. There would be extraordinary bumps in the road towards modernity. O'Toole frequently writes of the unknown knowns, an interesting description of a national personality disorder that facilitated multiple flavors of abuse and corruption. How else could a people willfully ignore clerical pedophilia, the brutality of industrial schools, and the essential incarceration of young women in Magdalen laundries? Under what circumstances could political corruption be countenanced on the scale of former Taoiseach Charles Haughey's transgressions? What mass delusion enabled the excesses of the Irish real estate boom, leading to economic devastation for many during the financial crisis? The story is extraordinary, leaving us fumbling for explanations of how such transactions, both moral and illegal, could take place in plain sight, or at least be revealed and brought to light by those with a modicum of curiosity and self-respect. Yet, despite it all, the country is now flourishing, stoked by one of the best educated workforces in the global economy. The power of the Catholic Church has been broken. A more skeptical electorate encourages and supports a strong journalistic sector willing to probe political corruption. A new generation, raised in the ruins of the financial crisis, is coming of age and is less likely to believe in fairy tale finance and bogus banking. All this richness and more is captured in O'Toole's book, which provides an important retelling of events now receding into the past. So, if you want to understand modern Ireland, get a copy of this book. It is history written in engaging prose, telling a story that is scarcely believable when viewed in totality. This is Martin Nutty, and you've been watching An Irish Stew Shout Out.